Currently, there are rumors and falsified reports circulating on social media about the novel coronavirus. For accurate information and updates, visit the Instagram and Facebook page of the Health Promotion Unit or the Ministry's YouTube channel at SynKits Health Promotion Unit or SynKits HPU. You may also visit online the World Health Organization or the Caribbean Public Health Agency. For further contact information, please contact the Ministry of Health for more info at 467-1172 or 467-1108. You can also be sure to follow the news to get the local COVID-19 updates. Let's all try to remain healthy and well. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEOC.
When you feel a sneeze or a cough coming, try to prevent sneezing or coughing into your hands, as this will contaminate your hands and spread germs. Covering your mouth prevents the spread of germs. You probably knew that, but the way you cover up also matters. And that means breaking a habit you've done all your life. Cover your mouth and nose with flexed elbow or a tissue, not your hands. Discard the used tissue in an appropriate bin immediately. Then, wash your hands with soap and running water to help stop the spread of germs. Turn on water. Wet hands. Apply soap and lather up. Focus on washing your hands for at least 20 seconds. Wash the front of your hands, the back, between fingers and around the nails. Rinse hands under running water. Use something clean to wipe your hands, preferably a disposable paper towel. The best way to wash your hands is using running water and soap, but sometimes we don't have that available. When not available, use hand sanitizer that should have at least 60% alcohol content. Your health is your responsibility. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Health, St. Kitts.
Fear of the coronavirus, along with misinformation about its spread, could lead to stigma and discrimination towards people contracting the disease, their families, and even healthcare workers. Stigmatized people may be subjected to social avoidance, bullying, and acts of aggression and physical violence, which could have a detrimental effect on their mental health. To help reduce stigma and its impact, you can share accurate information about the virus and how it spread. Speak out against negative statements shared on social media sites and don't share such videos. Don't refer to coronavirus victims or cases. They are people with COVID-19. Do understand that stigma and discrimination make it harder for people to seek care for the disease. Do your part to reduce fear and discrimination. Be responsible with what you share. This message comes to you from the St. Kitts Mental Health Association.
I am Officer Donnelly Liebert Shiverton. Do you want to travel and don't have private transportation? Here are some travel safety tips to keep yourself and the persons around you safe from the coronavirus. When venturing out in public, it is recommended that you wear a mask at all times. Sanitize your hands before and after entering public transportation. The bus operators are also encouraged to sanitize their buses after each trip. Remember, always practice good respiratory hygiene. That means refraining from touching your face with unwashed hands. Always practice physical distancing. To maintain physical distance, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis stipulates that only 2 passengers are allowed per row. That is, one passenger on each end of the bus row, while one passenger is allowed to sit up front with the driver. This means that only 9 passengers are allowed in a passenger bus. Remember, stay safe, travel wisely as we work together to flatten the curve.
We're doing our part to help making sure that the coronavirus doesn't spread any more in St. Kitts and Nevis. Our role here is just to ensure that the public being safe, and at the same time we're keeping ourselves safe. We're ensuring that each other keep at least 6 feet distance apart.
I like the fact that they put this into place, because most of the time the people are not honest. They tend to come and cheat, and many people who are here from since 6, 7 o'clock in the morning standing up waiting long, and people come in and excusing themselves within the line.
Some of them are 6 feet apart and the others are jumbled up too much on one another. Each supermarket where I attend, and even in the pharmacy, we're cooperating very well, and it's a good thing that they're doing. Very good.
I am very passionate about being here, performing my duties on the front line of COVID-19. Our job is not so easy, but we all know that someone has to do it.
It's not an easy job, it's not easy, very difficult, but however, conscious of ourselves, and we managed to take on the task.
Prime Minister, you shall top up the price, them money, because they out here in the hot sun to keeping the people them from fighting and shoving in the line. And what they do is a very, very good job.
We're just trying to do our part to make sure that St. Kitts can actually recover from this.
Yeah, people of St. Kitts and Nevis need to take this COVID-19 thing serious. The more cases we get, the more the place got locked down. Y'all making noise, but y'all still ain't doing what y'all supposed to do. Stop all your yard and use all your masks. That's the only thing gonna help right now.
If you own or work with animals, please follow these tips to avoid getting the coronavirus. Please keep pets away from areas where you are preparing food and eating your meals. Thoroughly wash your hands after handling animals and animal waste. Avoid contact with sick or stray animals. And always remember to wear protective gowns, gloves, and facial protection when handling them. As the novel coronavirus spreads, it is important that you continually disinfect your home. Viruses can gather on surfaces such as doorknobs, computer keyboards and mouse, cell phones, tablets, railings, kitchen and bathroom countertops, and remote control devices. To avoid transfer of viruses, wipe down these surfaces regularly with disinfectants such as Clorox, Lysol wipes, or soap and water. Avoid touching your face or your loved one's faces after touching any of these types of surfaces. It is very easy for viruses to be transferred in this way. When preparing food, be sure to use different knives and cutting boards for raw meat and cooked foods. Wash your hands before and after handling raw meats. Also, wash your hands before and after using cooked food. Be sure to cook food thoroughly before eating it. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
Before touching the mask, clean hands with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. Take the mask and inspect it for tears or holes. Orient which side is the top side where the metal strip is. Ensure the proper side of the mask faces outwards, the colored side. Place the mask to your face. Pinch the metal strip or stiff edge of the mask so it molds to the shape of your nose. Pull down the mask's bottom so it covers your mouth and your chin. After use, take off the mask. Remove the elastic loops from behind the ears while keeping the mask away from your face and clothes. To avoid touching potentially contaminated surfaces of the mask, Discard the mask in a closed bin immediately after use.
As fears about the effects of the coronavirus pandemic continue, it is natural that people may be experiencing more episodes of anxiety as a result. Common signs and symptoms of anxiety include feeling nervous, restless, and tense, having a sense of impending danger, panic, or doom, hyperventilating, sweating, or trembling, having trouble concentrating and excessive worry, having trouble sleeping. If you are experiencing any of these signs of anxiety, there are some things that you could do to cope. Reach out for help and talk to a trusted friend or individual who could help to distract you from some of the worrying thoughts. Avoid watching too many news items that focus on the negative impact of the coronavirus. Decide instead on a few specific times daily when you could get your news from reputable news sources. Make sure that you maintain some normalcy and regularity in your daily schedule as much as possible. Focus on the things in your life that you can control and do them. You can control what you watch on TV, what you listen to, who you talk to for support, and how you take care of your body. Remember to seek mental health and psychosocial support if necessary. This message was brought to you from the St. Kitts Mental Health Association.
Is on.
Good afternoon and welcome to the National Emergency Operations Center COVID-19 Daily Briefing for the 29th of April 2020. Thank you very much for joining us for today's briefing. We are very grateful that we can live to see a new day. Today we have a number of presentations for you, including from the Ministry of Tourism, FLO, SCASPA, the police, the Ministry of Health, and of course from the NEOC. Before we start with the presentations, I would like to read a statement from the Right Excellent and Right Honorable Sir Dr. Kennedy Simmons. The month of April is fast coming to its close, and history will record it as one of the most eventful periods of the 21st century because of COVID-19. But on a brighter and personal note, April also appears to have been a month filled with birthday celebrants who have been thrust in the forefront of the fight against coronavirus. So yes, there have been many happy birthdays remembered on the recent daily COVID-19 briefings. That was a good gesture, and I am sure highly appreciated by the recipients of the fraternal greetings and gifts. In my case, back on the 12th of April, I was frankly very surprised that in the midst of the widespread concern for our own safety and that of our loved ones, so many persons took the time not only to remember, but to swamp the airwaves with good wishes leading up to and on the day of my birthday. Some greetings even came belatedly. I wish to thank all those persons who sent birthday greetings and good wishes. On that day and every day, I am simply thankful to be alive. I had a very eventful day. It began with attendance at the Wesley Methodist Church Easter Sunday service. That was followed by service at the Antioch Baptist Church. In the afternoon, I attended a concert by the Charles Wesley St. Michael Singers. At this chapter of my life, these are small but important experiences of enjoyment that feature on my social calendar. My own celebrations of life, however, afforded me the opportunity to reflect and focus on the future of our country, especially as we confront this silent but deadly enemy of COVID-19. I offer my deepest sympathies for the family and friends who have lost so many of their loved ones in recent weeks. We in St. Kitts and Nevis, on the other hand, and at this time, have much to be thankful for, given the present state of the coronavirus at our shores. As citizens and residents of the smallest nation on earth, we have to be forever thankful to Almighty God for His boundless mercies and blessings. We must also be thankful for those who are the instruments of His grace and mercy here in our Federation. I am thankful for the proactive leadership of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, and his cabinet for their early and decisive action to protect all of us in the Federation. Let us all, at every opportunity, also give thanks for Dr. Hazel Laws, Dr. Wilkinson, Mr. Abdia Samuel, the Commissioner and ranks of the police, the commanding officer and ranks of the Defense Force, the doctors, nurses, EMTs, aides, orderlies, pharmacists, technicians, members of the various committees, volunteers, essential workers, all who are out on the front lines, working day and night to keep us safe. We owe them all a tremendous debt of gratitude. However, I am beginning to sense some impatience, frustration, and even complacency creeping in because of the realization that we are doing well compared to many other countries. This is not the time to let down our guard. It only needs one symptomless person with the virus to escape our vigilance. And before you know it, our last state can be worse than the first. There is one statistic which amazes me. That is the number of persons released from quarantine, 686 to date, with 15 confirmed cases. Think of the diligent, conscientious, and persistent work which would have been involved in the contact tracing and surveillance to have quarantined in excess of that number in the first place. Dr. Laws, Hazel Laws, is doing an amazing job in the vanguard of our battle to protect the lives of our citizens and residents from the ravages of the COVID-19 virus. Let us all do our part to protect ourselves and each other. Wash hands, practice physical distancing, wear masks in public, abide by the curfew regulations. Please do not stigmatize anyone. It could have been you or any of us. Remember, we are all in this together, and in the spirit of patriotism, let us all continue to put our country above self. That was a statement from the Right Excellent and Right Honorable Sir Dr. Kennedy Simmons. I would now like to invite the Acting General Manager of Flow, Mr. Michael Davis, to give us some remarks. Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Good afternoon. I'm Michael Davis, and as Mr. Williams said, I'm the acting general manager while Mr. Lake is out. But in my regular day job, I'm the finance manager for Flow, St. Kitts and Nevis, and BVI. On behalf of Mr. Lake, general manager, board of directors, employees, independent contractors of Flow, we express our gratitude to the leadership of the COVID task force and supporting teams who continue to do a fantastic job in providing steadfast leadership to combat the spread of the coronavirus. Flow remains committed to our mission to keep our customers connected while ensuring the safety of our employees and their families. As a company, we are deeply invested in the communities that we serve, and now more than ever, we understand the importance of providing a reliable network to enable our government, healthcare providers, educators, and businesses to maintain vital connectivity to their operations and stakeholders. Whether it is working from home via virtual meeting platforms, learning digitally for students now being homeschooled, are simply helping to ease moments of anxiety by connecting our customers to families and friends, home and abroad. We are all in this together, and we are happy to be your partners in ensuring that you stay connected. With so many people being affected by COVID-19 and experiencing significant challenges as a result, we immediately responded by implementing measures to protect and support our people, customers, communities, and government. We did this by initiating work-from-home initiatives. We provided customers with option to access our services, even on lockdown days, from the safety of their homes via our WhatsApp virtual store. This service can be accessed by sending your requests via WhatsApp to 669-3569 for customers in St. Kitts and 668-3569 for customers in Nevis. We have enhanced our cleaning and hygiene protocols across our facilities, including our 2 retail stores. We have installed and are installing physical barriers in our retail stores with protective equipment for our staff and customers, and we have been vigorously enforcing the social distancing protocols. We continue to promote our online and digital payment tools to ensure that we provide our customers with a safe option to pay their bills. These include the MyFlow mobile app, which allows our customers to access their bills, make payment, log faults, subscribe to further services, and customers can also access our payment portal by visiting myflow.discoverflow.co, where you can access your bill, sign up for your e-bills, and also make payments to your bills. Payments can also be made via any of the online banking portals, and we have also made facility available at Rams and Best Buy via our check drop box, where customers can make payment via check. In response to the requirement of homeschooling, we executed the following to assist all students of the Federation. Provided free flow study to all students in the Federation. All students have free access regardless of the telecoms provider that they're with. This award-winning education platform also has been enhanced to include 500 videos. These videos offers content for age groups starting at 5 to 18 covering primary to CXC subjects in the secondary level. To date, more than 11,000 students and parents have activated this plan and have placed St. Kitts at the second highest subscribed territory amongst our cable and wireless territory, with only Jamaica being the highest. The Flow Study portal allows students to continue their studies at home, so please encourage all students you know that they should take advantage of this generous offer. Simply all you need to do is to type flowstudy.com in your browser and then follow the subscription instructions, and then you can take advantage of this. Flow Study is also available on Flow TV. So once you have Flow TV, you are able to access this content via the video on demand at no additional cost for all our parents, all our students. We also partnered with the Ministry of Education in facilitating the Virtual Learning Initiative, working with Digicel and the cable to source access devices for the ministry, underscoring our commitment to the educational development of all students in the Federation. We know that many of our customers face uncertain times, and so we have introduced products and services to assist where we can. What we have done, we provided a free 150% upgrade in speed to our basic broadband package, moving customers from 6 megabytes to 15 megabytes. This is to allow for the increasing demand for homeschooling and for work from home. We have zero-rated key access numbers to select critical calls, websites, and services. So the COVID-19 website, those have been zero-rated. So if customers do not have data on their phones, then they'll still be able to access these websites to get the critical information needed. We have assisted in the setup of the 311 hotline to facilitate the COVID task force, both in St. Kitts and Nevis, at no cost to the task force. In 2019, we upgraded our island-wide LTE mobile network that has allowed us to improve our speed and LTE coverage via our mobile network. Along with our robust fixed line network, we have rolled out initiatives and products and services to allow our customers to enjoy the network. Some of these offerings were free data and international minutes for all our postpaid customers. We have offered free data for our prepaid customers. On April 5th, we offered free calling for all our prepaid customers as well. And for our TV customers, we're offering them free upgrades to kid and family-friendly content. Our regional crisis team is active and working across our markets, continuing to monitor the ever-evolving developments so that we can respond appropriately to ensure that we continue to support our employees, our customers, community, and government during this crisis. We understand the importance of being connected during these times, during these unprecedented times, and remain committed to provide the highest standard of service to our customers and communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I now would like to invite Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Mrs. Carleen Henry Morton, to address us.
Okay, a pleasant afternoon to the audience in studio. We do have a small audience, and to the viewing and listening public as well. The Ministry of Tourism welcomes this opportunity to share with the general public and with our stakeholders in particular our efforts to keep operations up and running, our efforts at staying engaged with cruise and airline partners, and generally to share the preparations that are being made to pivot post-COVID-19. I also want to take this opportunity to commend the COVID-19 task force on the exceptional job that they have been doing in coordinating efforts to keep us all informed during this crisis. This is a hard time in the travel and tourism industry. This is an industry that thrives on that basic human need for social interaction. It is essentially about movement of people across borders and within communities. Unfortunately, so is the coronavirus, COVID-19, which takes advantage of the movement of people to spread death, destruction, and despair. To stop the spread of COVID, the necessary response globally has been to restrict movement and to close borders. The complete opposite of what we do in tourism. The tagline in the industry is, stay home, stop the spread, save lives, so we can travel again. This last tag is critically important and very optimistic in outlook, so all is not lost. In the Federation, the situation is fluid, evolving, and being regularly monitored and assessed. But to date, our borders remain closed in the best interest of the health of our citizens and of our guests. Sadly, this unprecedented crisis has destabilized the hospitality and tourism sector and is disrupting the lives and livelihoods of thousands of our stakeholders and service providers in the industry. However, strategic and innovative planning and action, not paranoia, panic, or pessimism, must be our best response in this crisis. We want to assure all concerned that operations at the Ministry of Tourism and at the St. Kitts Tourism Authority have not ground to a halt. We continue to dialogue with cruise and airline partners and to give them every assurance that our tourism stakeholders are preparing to continue delivering world-class service post-COVID-19. We have adopted a very balanced and systematic approach to managing this crisis as it unfolds, while putting systems in place to welcome our guests and ensure a smooth return to a vibrant and competitive industry as soon as it is safe to do so. Our marketing activities continue, focusing on the following: ongoing crisis communication, so we update the travel and tourism industry via press releases, our website, e-blasts to our databases as per NEOC briefings. For example, we give the number of confirmed and recovered cases, travel alerts and restrictions, airline flights and information related to the state of emergency, lockdown and release days, etc. Inspirational marketing is also ongoing through posts and destination marketing videos. One in particular has come out, and it was released around mid-May. I think I saw another new one this today sometime on Facebook. We use Instagram, we use LinkedIn and Twitter. Once our borders are reopened and travel alerts lifted, our marketing campaigns for all channels will go live to stimulate bookings in all source markets. Marketing activities will focus first on previous visitors to St. Kitts, currently in our database, then to those individuals who have shown intent by clicking on digital ads via Facebook, Instagram, TripAdvisor, Google, pay-per-click, and other digital tools that we are using for marketing the destination. During the recovery phase, our first focus will be on attracting leisure travelers, stayovers. Stayovers will assist in earning revenue for hotels, beach bars, restaurants, retail stores, tours to sites and attractions. Focus will be placed first on the US and Canada markets due to likely airlift frequency by AA, then onto the UK. I want to assure everyone as well that the ministry staff is operating on shifts from 8 to 11:30 and then 11:30 to 3:30, strictly observing the physical distancing and other health protocols, of course. We remain available and at your service. The Ministry of Tourism will also begin to roll out a survey of all stakeholders shortly to capture their feedback about the impacts of COVID-19 on the operations. Stakeholders, you will have the option of completing it online or by phone with assistance from one of our officers. We appeal to you all to respond as quickly as you can, as your responses are critical to assessing your needs and making informed decisions at this time. We urge the general public to stay tuned as well, to hear our plans to reformat Restaurant Week and other programs which we deliver, so that we are able to engage you using virtual platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and others. Additionally, staff both at the ministry and at Eco Park have been enrolled in a number of tourism-related online courses, and over the next few months, we will be retooling and sharpening our skills in preparation for what we feel is going to be a new tourism landscape when the industry does rebound. A little advice for our stakeholders, if we may. We take this opportunity to offer some similar advice. Using this downtime, you can perhaps begin to do some minor infrastructural improvements to your property where you can, to create or to update your business websites, become more familiar with how to use technology to market your businesses and to recruit new customers by offering more convenient ways to book ahead. Regularly post videos and updates on our iconic sites and attractions, for example, ongoing upgrades that are taking place at Black Rocks, at Cockleshell, and at Eco Park. Stay in touch with guests who would have enjoyed your services in the past. Look for opportunities to form partnerships with other businesses in the industry, for example, restaurants with farmers, taxis with tour guides, so you design unique and exciting packages for the season ahead. Repurpose your business where you can, so you keep yourself and others employed and bring in some level of revenue. Just yesterday I heard Pearson Trade speaking about businesses that are now making hand sanitizers. Many of us have been purchasing them. Some are making masks. Others are offering delivery services for supermarkets and restaurants who are offering takeaway. And I want to implore us as consumers to support these businesses. And you can also use the time that you have on your hands now to flesh out those ideas that you may have been putting on the back burner for quite some time. What about very affordable staycations, day and weekend passes, or other special packages for locals? Even when restrictions are lifted, travel is not likely to kick in immediately. Let's take a serious look at how we can entice the local market to explore and discover the destination. We are also advising that you begin now to mentally prepare for your operations in the early days of the recovery. It won't be business as usual. The industry will have to be very proactive and very conscious about basic health and wellness practices. Keep sanitizers handy, regularly clean door handles and seats, control the number of persons on your vehicles and in public spaces. These are the things that will reassure our guests that we are a responsible destination, taking every precaution to keep them and ourselves safe. These are just a few strategies that should help to tide you over, keep you a few steps ahead, and keep the destination competitive when the industry begins to rebound. The global tourism community continues to rally together, and the industry has proven to be very resilient and robust in the face of terrorism, natural disasters, and other crises. So there is still much room for hope, even as we endure and keep our distance. For now. Predictions are that the Caribbean will be among the first to rebound. We have comparatively fewer COVID-19 cases and deaths, combined with the offerings of our exciting and exotic eco and adventure tourism products that easily allow for social distancing. Over the past 5 years, our tourism product has done exceptionally well. Phenomenal growth in both cruise and stayovers. We received several accolades and recorded a number of milestone achievements. We will not lose that momentum. We stick together in the good times and the not so good times. When this pandemic is over, we will be ready to welcome eager travelers again and share with them this awesome island that we all call home. Thanks for your attention. Stay informed and stay safe. I have the CEO, Ms. Raquel Brown, here with me from the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, and we will await any questions that may come up at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Morton. I now invite Superintendent of Police, Cromwell Henry, Divisional Commander for District A, to give us his report. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Pleasant good afternoon to everyone. I will begin, as usual, with the arrest statistics. For the past 24 hours, 2 persons were arrested for breaching the curfew, both in the Dead Bay area, Dead Bay district, bringing our total to date to 97. Today I will continue to address concerns about the operations of passenger buses. I remind that buses are permitted to operate on the following conditions. 1. No more than 2 passengers are permitted per row of seating. Let me read again. No more than 2 passengers are permitted per row of seating. Driver and passengers must wear masks. Hand sanitizer must be available for passengers who must sanitize their hands upon entry. The buses must be sanitized at the end of each trip. Windows must be open if weather conditions permit. Passengers must pay upon entry to the vehicle. The wearing of masks is prescribed by the regulations, and each individual is responsible for his actions. However, the bus driver is responsible for ensuring his passengers are protected. Therefore, he should always insist that each passenger wear a mask to be permitted entry on the bus. Thursday and Friday, that is tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, are the next set of limited operation days. Limited operation days runs from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. However, we recommend that businesses, in particular small shops, closes at 6:30 p.m. to allow you and your customers sufficient time to be home by 7 p.m. as the curfew begins at 7:01 p.m. Let me repeat that. The limited operation days run from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. However, we recommend that businesses, in particular the small shops or small supermarkets, close at 6:30 p.m. to allow the owners and the customers sufficient time to be home by 7 p.m. as the curfew begins at 7:01 p.m. Most of the larger businesses already are closed by 5 p.m. Finally, I remind you that the curfew ends at 5:59 a.m. tomorrow. Therefore, you are expected to remain at your residence until then to avoid conflict with the regulations. For those persons who have been asking whether or not they are permitted to exercise, yes, you are allowed to go out and exercise, but you must not do so before 6 a.m. in the morning on limited operation days. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Henry. I now invite our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, to give her health report. Dr. Laws.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, and good afternoon, everyone. As of Wednesday, the 29th of April, 2020, at 3 p.m., the World Health Organization reports 2,995,758 confirmed cases of COVID-19 globally, with 204,987 deaths. To date, 293 persons have been sampled and tested, with 15 confirmed positive, 271 confirmed negative, and 7 results pending. This afternoon, I want to inform you that 6 confirmed cases have recovered. I repeat, 6 confirmed cases have recovered. To date, we have 0 deaths. Currently, 5 persons are quarantined in a government facility, while 55 persons are quarantined at home. 9 persons remain in isolation, while 688 persons have been released from quarantine. While there is currently no cure for coronavirus, there are some steps everyone can take to help support their natural defenses against viruses like this one. The body's immune system is what helps to fight off these pathogens. There are a number of ways in which you can support your own immune system to make it as strong and effective as possible, including the following. Eat more fruits, vegetables, and leafy greens. Fruits and vegetables contain high levels of antioxidants and nutrients which boost the production of cells which support the immune system. Aim to consume at least 3 servings of fruits and vegetables daily. Number 2, get more sleep. While we sleep, our body repairs and builds our immune system to fight off viruses. Aim to get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep daily. Sunshine increases vitamin D. Our body creates vitamin D from direct sunlight on our skin when we are outdoors. Studies show that vitamin D activates the cells which help to fight infection. Aim to get 1 to 2 hours of direct sunlight per day to get your fill of vitamin D. Exposure to sunlight is preferred at the beginning and at the end of each day to minimize the harmful effects of ultraviolet light on your skin. Practice good hygiene. Proper hygiene, such as washing hands regularly, using a disposable tissue when blowing nose or coughing into your flexed elbow, will help to decrease the spread of viruses. Aim to wash your hands after touching contaminated surfaces. Reduce your stress levels. Stress can suppress the immune system and interfere with the infection-fighting ability of your white blood cells, making you more prone and susceptible to contracting illnesses. This can be done by developing coping mechanisms, such as keeping in contact with close friends and relatives who provide positive emotional support to reduce stress levels and avoid unnecessary worry about things you have no control over. Stay positive. A positive attitude can improve your immune system and may help you live longer. See the cup as half full as opposed to half empty. Always remember the things you are thankful for and adopt an attitude of gratitude. Remember, each of us have our part to play in protecting our lives, ourselves, and others from this disease. Continue to engage in the social distancing measures currently in place. Eat well and boost your own immune system. Engage in effective hand washing practices. And finally, wear masks in public spaces. By adhering to these practices, we will see positive outcomes and win the fight against this invisible enemy. I want to use this opportunity to remind you that our national statistics and other COVID-19 related information can be found at the official website www.covid19.gov.kn, the St. Kitts Health Promotion Unit Facebook page, and the St. Kitts Health Promotion Unit YouTube channel and Instagram. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Laws, for your report. I now invite Mr. Abdias Samuel, who is chair of the COVID-19 National Task Force and National Disaster Coordinator at NEMA, to address us. Mr. Samuel.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Good afternoon. Greetings to all. Those who are joining us via internet, watching your televisions, and listening to your radios. Today we bring you the NEOC Daily Situation Report for Wednesday, 30th April. 311 would have processed a total of 20 calls, 17 on St. Kitts, 3 on Nevis. 911, 64 calls, 32 for police matters, 4 EMS matters, and 28 for general information. The NEOC on St. Kitts would have processed 11 calls for the past 24 hours, 1 for assistance, 8 requesting permission to travel during the lockdown days, and 2 for general information. Nevis EOC would have processed 14 calls for the past 24 hours. The COVID-19 Compliance Task Force and the Quarantine Task Force finally got a day off, and they will resume operations tomorrow. So all the businesses who have been asked to follow and put in place the measures and the protocols necessary to be compliant with regulation, please do so soonest. I want to thank Flo, who is a part of the National Utility Subcommittee, for continuing to endeavor to support the national effort as a partner, a stakeholder partner in the national disaster framework and mechanism. I also want to acknowledge the cable, Pat Walters, CEO, and the technicians who on short notice today went out of their way beyond the call of duty to ensure we prepare the necessary facilities for internet to be made accessible for our students who will be returning from Jamaica. Thank you, Pat, and thanks to all the technicians who came out today to do so. I want to take this opportunity to read a letter that was sent to us by Miss Iris Reid out of the UK. The letter reads, Mistress Iris Reid, daughter of the soil, originally from Molyneux, and is now a retired nurse residing in the UK. She watches the daily briefing and would like to express her appreciation and sincere gratitude to the National Emergency Response Team for their dedication in fighting to reduce the impact of this pandemic on the Federation. Mistress Reed would like to make a donation of 3,000 EC dollars to the Ministry of Health to be used towards procuring resources for the cause, such as PPE and test kits. May God protect one and all in this our land of beauty. Thank you, Mistress Reed, and the Junior Minister with responsibility for health is right here, and also the CMO and the Medical Chief of Staff, and I'm certain the country by extension and the National Task Force are very grateful for your donation. We also want to acknowledge Domino's Pizza, and this comes from the St. Kitts Nurses Association, who would like to extend their gratitude to Domino's for their donation of pizza to the nurses of the various nursing institutions around the island, to include Paxson, Mary Charles, and the Carding Home. Once again, we say thank you for their kind support to the nurses of St. Kitts, especially during these crucial times. Sincerely, Amarose Francis, Vice President, St. Kitts Nursing Association. Again, we want to advise the public and the country and the nation as a whole that our students from Jamaica will be arriving on island tomorrow. Today, the members of the task force engaged the parents. We met with them in two groups, one at 9:15 thereabouts, and the other one about 10:30 this morning. And we had some very, very fruitful discussion, and the parents are very much satisfied, and they have expressed their gratitude to the government and people for supporting these efforts for their sons and daughters. And I also want to commend the cabinet and their work for ensuring that our students are going to arrive, hopefully, safely tomorrow, by God's grace. So we are very happy that this has taken place. So the students will be here tomorrow. I just want to add something to what Mr. Superintendent Henry would have addressed earlier. We've met with the Honorable Minister with responsibility for transportation, the permanent secretary within that ministry, the 3 buses association, the taxi association, and we all agreed on the way forward for these buses. I am making an appeal to the associations and the bus operators to please comply with these rules. I want to thank everybody for their continued support, and we do hope that going forward we can be making more and more progress as we fight this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you, Mr. Williams, and I do look forward for questions and answers.
Thank you, Mr. Samuel. As you said, we are now at the segment for questions and answers. And please feel free to submit your questions to 762-4888, 762-4888, and your questions can be based on the presentations of each day. If there's a question you have coming out of the presentation or some clarification that you would like. We have here today to answer your questions the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws. We have Ms. Raquel Brown, who is the CEO of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority. We have Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Carleen Henry Morton, Superintendent of Police, Mr. Cromwell Henry, the Honorable Wendy Phipps, Minister of State with responsibility for health, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, Medical Chief of Staff at the Joseph N. France General Hospital, and our Chairman of the Disaster Mitigation Council and Attorney General, the Honorable Vincent Byron. We also have Mr. Michael Davis from Flo and Mr. Samuels. The first question, without revealing personal information, could we have a composite view of our COVID cases? Example, age range, average age, median age, number of males versus females. Any asymptomatic? Repeat the most common symptoms. Dr. Laws did this a week or so ago, and it was most interesting. It is helpful for people to be able to see that it could be them. It's not an old people's problem, which I think comes from the stressing of the at-risk persons. But we old people are wearing masks, staying home, and paying attention. Younger ones are a little bit more carefree. Dr. Laws.
Okay, so to date we've had 15 confirmed cases, and earlier I would have announced that 6 have since recovered. From where I sit, we only have 1 case that's symptomatic. All the others are without symptoms or symptom-free and recovering. About a week ago, I would have shared with the general public the most common symptoms that were voiced by the cases that we've diagnosed, and the most common symptoms manifested by our local COVID-19 cases include fever, sore throat, dry cough, runny nose, headache. Some of the other symptoms included general feeling of weakness, fatigue, and malaise, and diarrhea. I will look at the data and present a more comprehensive overview of our local situation in tomorrow's situation report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Laws. This question is having to do with the students who are returning to the Federation on Thursday. The question is, will they be put into quarantine? And will they be guarded? Mr. Samuel.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for the question. Yes, the students or anyone entering the Federation will be placed under mandatory quarantine in a government facility, and these government facilities are being secured by our security forces, that is the police, the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force and the St. Kitts Nevis Defense Force.
These questions are for Superintendent Henry. Has the Traffic Department put anything in place concerning persons who are learning to drive or persons who have time pending for a road test, driving road test? What are the measures that have been put in place for this? And the second question, it seems that enforcement of the curfew is only in Bastille. It seems that persons in my village are free to move about as they please. What can be done to enforce these regulations in rural areas?
Thank you, Mr. Williams. With respect to driver's tests, yes, instructors are allowed to continue giving instructions to their students. Of course, we have some guidelines for them. Both the instructor and the student must wear masks. They must hand sanitize before each lesson, both the instructor and the student. And after each lesson, the controls of the vehicle must be sanitized. The gear shift, the parking, the hand parking lever, the steering controls, and all other surfaces that is frequently touching the vehicle must be sanitized after each lesson. The traffic department has not made any decision yet as to when they will resume testing of drivers, but I'm certain that when that happens, an announcement will be made. With regards to the enforcement of the curfew, I do not agree with that assessment by the questioner. When I look at the breakdown, more than half of the arrests are made outside of Bastille. In fact, to give you a breakdown, of the 97 arrests so far to date, only 43 were made in Bastille. All the other arrests are from the rural areas. We have 27 in the Date Bay district, that is the area between Date Bay and Harris Village. 9 in the Cayon district, that is from Atlas to Canada. 5 in the Stapleton area, 2 in the Old Road district, and 11 on Nevis. So more than half of the arrests are outside of Bastille. The police continue their nightly patrols, and we are always on the lookout for persons who are in breach of the curfew. But what we realize is that when persons see a police vehicle approaching, they would run, they would hide, and then come out after. So they will not run when they see you, but they would run when they see the police. So we ask persons to continue to comply with the curfew and remain indoors.
Thank you, Superintendent. This is from a concerned busman. Good afternoon. We thank the Unity Government for the efforts to assist busmen and employees during these challenging times. We have a serious problem with some passengers. They enter our buses with masks on. However, once the bus is in motion, they pull them under their necks or take them off. What can we do as bus drivers to fix this, especially after we have asked them several times to put them on if we realize this? If the police were to stop us and find passengers as in above, how would they deal with the situation, since we cannot police passengers and still concentrate on the road? I guess one of the questions would be, if the police finds a violation inside the buses of the regulations, who will be charged, the bus driver or the passenger?
That's a very good question. As I mentioned in my presentation, that each person is liable for their actions. They are responsible for their actions, and so if they breach the regulation, the person who breaches the regulation is the person who is responsible. So the regulation requires every person to wear masks, so that if the police finds you without a mask, you are the one who is liable, not the bus driver. We only ask that the bus driver assists in enforcing the regulations by asking his passengers to put on their masks before they come in. But once they get in and they remove the mask and they are caught by the police, they are responsible and not the driver. Yes, thanks for that reminder. The bus driver, he can stop the vehicle if he finds persons are removing the mask once they begin to move, to drive. He can stop the vehicle and ask them to alight, or he can drive them to the nearest police station and ask the police to have them removed from the vehicle. So yes, you can put the passenger off the bus if they insist on not wearing the mask.
Thank you for that clarification, Superintendent. This question is for the tourism officials. Is there any expectation when flights might be resumed? That is, commercial flights. What requirements would be anticipated for incoming passengers? And there is a rumor that American Airlines will start operations on St. Kitts on June 6. Is that true? Ms. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, let me just address the recent announcement from the Tourism Authority in relation to American Airlines. American Airlines reloaded the flights, and they have announced that into the schedule that they will resume. However, they cannot resume if the border remains closed. So therefore, they're just doing what an airline does, which is they load their schedules. Of course, if the borders are closed, American Airlines will not be resuming their flights. I hope I have clarified that for everyone. That goes for any other airline that would be coming to St. Kitts. However, American Airlines is our main carrier, and they do have a responsibility to provide this information. So they're doing what they would normally do and load the schedule ahead of time. But if the borders are not open, they cannot come to St. Kitts through RLB. The next question was in relation to what would be the requirements. We'll have to work definitely with the Ministry of Health because everyone understands that with COVID-19, it is a social virus. The flight from Miami is 2 hours and 45 minutes. And so there are precautions that will have to be taken at the Miami end and also on the receiving end. We also have to ensure that the safety of everyone is important. It's not just about the visitors, but we can't have the visitors come to St. Kitts and Nevis and create a health situation. So we have to ensure, working with the Ministry of Health and working with our airline partners, that we meet the criteria that are going to be set out to ensure that there are no risks to health and safety to anyone in the Federation. I think I've answered it.
The Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. I just want to reinforce the point that we are on the state of emergency, and that under the state of emergency, emergency powers regulations have been gazetted and published. And I want to read what the regulation states, which spells out how to treat international travel. There is Regulation 11, refers to restriction on international travel for the purposes of preventing, controlling, and suppressing the spread of the novel coronavirus or COVID-19 with immediate effect, except with the prior written permission of the airports authorities, all airports, including private airports and fixed-based operations, shall be closed to incoming international traffic, international flights. That's A. B. All seaports shall be closed to regional and international seafaring and private boating. And C. A visitor shall not be permitted to enter and disembark for any reason, including transiting to St. Christopher and Nevis. Subregulation 2 says the restriction contained in Subregulation 1 does not apply in A, outgoing flights or outgoing ships, as the case may be, B, cargo flights or cargo ships, as the case may be, C, connecting courier, or that's commercial courier flights, that would be such as FedEx and DHL, sorry. D, emergency medical flights. E, emergency flights approved by the airports authorities. And F, flight carrying out any diplomat. And subregulation 3 states, notwithstanding subregulation 2, no crew member will be allowed or granted shore leave unless for the purposes of operational difficulties and upon receiving permission from the airport authorities or the ports authorities. So that at this point in time, the borders of St. Kitts and Nevis remain closed, and there are no commercial flights that have been allowed at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General. This question is from SKN Newsline for Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Henry Morton. Permanent Secretary Mrs. Henry Morton spoke of stakeholders being prepared for the reopening of the country and restart of tourism activities. One aspect was not mentioned, which leads to our question. What will be the new protocols in place for persons arriving from the USA, Canada, and the UK, our main source markets, with cities of high COVID-19 infections?
As it relates to our source markets, the precautions that we're going to take and the protocols that will be put in place will be put in place from the Ministry of Health. As it stands right now, none of those source markets can come to St. Kitts because travel alerts or restrictions are in place. So therefore, we have to ensure that when the borders are reopened, we will work with the Ministry of Health to identify what the protocol will be. We cannot do that independent of the Ministry of Health. And that's just the reality of the situation. So we have to work with the Ministry of Health to move tourism forward, and they will decide the protocol for us. Thank you.
This question is for Dr. Laws or Dr. Wilkinson. Now that we have recovered cases, will the medical authorities be soliciting blood donations from these persons in order to obtain blood plasma? It seems blood plasma from recovered patients might be helpful to those battling COVID-19. If so, would our local labs have the capability to extract and store this plasma? Dr. Wilkinson.
Now, in a number of countries that have been hit real hard by COVID-19, studies have shown that the antibodies that they produce, the persons who have recovered from COVID-19, that the blood plasma can be of some beneficial use in persons who are recovering from COVID-19. Here in St. Kitts, because of our scale, we only have 6 persons who have recovered, and thank God we don't have any persons who are hospitalized. We don't have any persons who are seriously ill, and all of our patients are recovering very well. And I don't think that we would have to cross that bridge right now, but it's something to keep in mind. And the CMO spoke about looking at the glass half full as opposed to half empty. And I want us to focus on the statistics that she just put out in terms of our cases. From the time we had our first case, more than 3 incubation periods ago, we've only had 15 cases. And for the last 10 days, despite the fact that we're doing continued testing, we have had 0 new cases. We have 6 persons who are recovered fully, and the others are recovering. And let's focus on the positive. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wilkinson. This question has to do with the stimulus package from Social Security. Tomorrow is the end of the month. Some persons have not received their payment from the government stimulus package for this month. Will there be a back payment, or will it just be counted as a loss? Attorney General.
Thank you very much. There is a process by which anyone who would qualify for assistance under the Security Fund should make an application. I think these numbers are online. I think yesterday, for instance, you would have heard from CEO Pat Walters, who indicated that on CNN there is a scrolling byline that establishes numbers that you can contact. There are forms which you can fill out and submit, I think in person or maybe by email. But you need to be able to approach the Social Security by phone and find out what has happened to your application. Anyone who qualifies, I am sure that you are entitled to receive your payments. And if you have not received them to date, that's unfortunate, and you should approach the Social Security tomorrow to find out what happened to that. Thank you.
That brings us to the end of our question and answer segment. I want to thank you very much for your questions, and I do hope that they were adequately answered. If not, you can also ask a follow-up question at our next briefing. I would like to thank all those who participated, presented in today's briefing. The Flow Acting General Manager, Mr. Michael Davis, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Carleen Henry Morton, Mrs., and also Miss Raquel Brown from the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, who did answer some of the questions. Superintendent of Police, Mr. Cromwell Henry, our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, and Dr. Cameron Wilkinson, our Medical Chief of Staff at the JNF General Hospital, Mr. Abdias Samuel, Chair of the COVID-19 National Task Force, Mrs. Christmas Jacobs for her gift of sign language. We also would like to thank the COVID-19 Communications Task Force, which includes Mr. Nigel Farrell and Vesta Southwell. We also thank those persons who every day come to the National Emergency Operations Center and volunteer of their time and their energy and their effort in trying to manage the COVID-19 pandemic in St. Kitts and Nevis. Some of them actually sleep here and they work on shift. These people are to be commended. We also would like to thank the media who continue to work along with us in disseminating information, getting information out, all those persons who work on our websites, the cable who partners with us, Flow and Digicel that partners with us, especially at this time when information is so important. Ms. Ophelia Blanchard and the IT department that keep up to date with the COVID-19.gov.kn, government website where you can find all the information in terms of the situation reports, the press releases that are put out by SKNIS and others, the Ministry of Health, and so on. We thank our Attorney General, the Honorable Vincent Byron. We also thank our Minister of State with responsibility for health, the Honorable Wendy Phipps. And we thank ZIZ. We thank Open Interactive, and all of you, the audience, who continue to pay attention each day, thousands of you all over the world, who continue to tune in to this briefing each day at 5 p.m. I think that we have over 90% of persons who continue to tune into this briefing. People meet me on the road all the time, and they're very appreciative of what we're doing here. It's an all-of-government approach in terms of how we manage COVID-19 in the Federation. It is not just about giving the statistics on recoveries and how many people are confirmed with the virus and just the police report, but it is all of government that is involved in the management of this pandemic in St. Kitts and Nevis. We also thank the Right Excellent and Right Honorable Sir Dr. Kennedy Simmons for his statement, which was read at the beginning. And just an announcement that the insurance company of the West Indies would like to let the general public know that they are open for business. Thank you very much, and tomorrow we will be back for another COVID-19 daily briefing. Until then, continue to follow the regulations, continue to be safe, and to put into practice personal hygiene so that you can protect yourself, protect others, protect your family. Take care.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Dwayne Archibald, Head of Emergency Room at Joseph and France Hospital. Novel coronavirus has been topic of conversation globally and of course in St. Kitts and Nevis. Basically, the word novel in coronavirus identifies that this is something new to the human being. In preparation of COVID-19 in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have to be able to identify the symptoms. These symptoms may include fever for a prolonged period of time, coughing for a prolonged period of time, shortness of breath, or any respiratory type symptoms. In addition, for prevention, we should avoid holding hands, shaking hands, sharing forks, knives, spoons, and even cups. So consider avoiding touching one's face, nose, mouth, eyes. So to avoid self-contamination, that is touching the face, we are advised to use alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Now these alcohol-based hand sanitizers should have at least 60 to 70% alcohol in it. We should also consider washing our hands thoroughly when handling babies before and after, also in the case of the sick and the elderly. So when I speak of sick people, I refer to elderly over 60, I refer to people with hypertension, diabetes, kidney compromise or kidney failure. Hand hygiene is important in cooking. We should wash our hands thoroughly before and after handling raw meat. Cooking boards should be separate for raw food and cooked food, and of course raw meat should be cooked thoroughly. For the pet owners, they should also consider washing their hands before and after dealing with pets. The virus can get on any other inanimate objects such as doorknobs, computer screens, computer keyboards, and we should consider wiping those down with Lysol or Clorox. Let us try to build our immune system. Exercise, rest, vitamins, vitamin C especially, also fruits and vegetables, and hydration, drinking lots and lots of water. There is a lot of misleading information being spread about the COVID-19 rumors. So what we do suggest is that you follow up with the Ministry of Health in terms of their Facebook page, also There's information that's readily available from WHO, World Health Organization, or from Caribbean Public Health Agency. So for further information on COVID-19, we can visit the social media outlets or social media pages of the Ministry of Health through the St. Kitts Health Promotion Unit on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on YouTube. Or we can just call 467-1172 or 467-1108.
The coronavirus pandemic has caused upheaval in the lives of many people, and the increased stress that it has caused is a very normal response. High levels of stress impacts people's physical health, how they feel, and how they think. To help manage stress during this pandemic, it is important to stay up to date with credible sources of information about how to keep yourself and your family safe, maintain connections with family and friends while remembering to observe social and physical distancing. Practice relaxation techniques like deep breathing, yoga, meditation, stretching, and relaxing visual imagery. Focus on positive aspects of your life and any new opportunities that this situation is bringing to you. Engage in physical activity, even in your home. This helps to boost mood and reduce levels of stress. Stress levels can be managed by having a problem-solving approach, by managing the things that you can manage, and by adopting a positive attitude about your capabilities. This message is brought to you by the St. Kitts Mental Health Association.
Is on.